Welcome back to this month's masterclass, where we'll be teaching you our secrets on how to overcome perfectionism and put a stop to the self-sabotaging cycle.
Gosh, I feel like the more clients that we work with and the more people that come into sort of our realm, the more we hear about perfectionism. I think one of the biggest topics that we get asked about is either perfectionism or imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
It seems like so many people are dealing with that. In fact, I read a study about Harvard students are talking about one of the best schools in the world, right? Over 70% of them feel as though they don't belong there. 70%.
That's like most of the people.
A lot more than most. It's not like, this is happening to a few people. I feel like collectively it's happening to most of us, and it's happening all the time. And this training really is about starting to overcome that, because if you always feel like you don't belong, you'll always feel alone. And so the important part during this training is to come back to yourself and to remember how important you really are, and realize that it's what's inside of you that matters. It's that magic and spark that you have, and to make sure that you're not doling it just because other people want to kind of fit you in a different shaped box than what you really belong in. Maybe it's something star-shaped instead. And so we know it's just something that you have to grab a hold to so that you can start living a happy life, because we've met so many people that are high achievers, very high level achievers, high financially, everything looks great. And then you talk to them, you have a real conversation, you find out that they're not happy at all. It's like they've done everything at this big expense, and the expense that they've paid is they've stopped being themselves. And so perfectionism is about moving away from the shield that you've used to protect yourself and coming back and saying, like, I'm okay being vulnerable. I'm okay making the mistakes. I'm okay failing. I'm okay.
You know, what this reminds me of is a very on hot topic point right now with the Meghan Markle interview with Oprah. She's like a freaking duchess of a monarchy and is miserable, thought about depression and suicide. Like, it doesn't matter what level you reach or how much money you have or fame or status or accomplishments. Like, all of it boils down to how do you feel about yourself? As Chris and I were talking so much about this training, and, all month, like for each month we're themed, we're like, okay, let's talk about all the things perfectionism, and we see how it shows up in our life and in our friends' life and our clients' life and the questions that you guys ask us. And we realize that all of it really boils down to wanting approval from someone. And anytime we put that approval from someone outside of ourselves, and it's not approval of ourselves from ourselves, it's going to be a long, shitty road. And it's never going to feel fulfilling, or you're never going to feel whole or completely loved and accepted until you learn to love and accept yourself. And I really hope that you walk away from this training today feeling like a total badass, feeling like, you know what, I am going to fuck stuff up. But you know what? That doesn't determine my worth, my value. I'm still lovable. I'm still amazing. And me learning and growing is actually a beautiful thing that we're not allowing ourselves to do, because we don't even get started when perfectionism rears its ugly head of fear and self-doubt.
Yeah. And what's important is that it's not just that we do this for ourselves, because like once you stop feeling that way and once you start doing what you want to do, that's great. But the more important thing, the thing that carries on further, is that we stop being that way to our kids. We stop being that way to the people that we help. I know we have a lot of empaths here. We have a lot of moms, dads. We have a lot of people who are in positions where they help other people, where their advice is taken seriously. And so we have to remember that.
I want to know, is that you? Are you someone who is of service to someone else, whether it be a family member, a child, a person, your business, your job? Like, do you feel like you're showing up every day giving of yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can all probably say yes.
Yeah. So what we really want to do.
Wait, who's the one receiving all this giving though? Ooh, I want that job.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So you have to think is like, where am I doing this? Because a lot of times what we do when we're shown specific situations is our mind defaults. And it defaults a lot of times to what we've already learned. It's because it's lazy. The mind is a little bit lazy. It says, oh my gosh, I don't want to recreate the wheel. Let's just repeat what either people have done to me or what I've seen or heard other people have happened to other people. And so when we're parents, a lot of times we parent our kids the exact same way our parents parented us. And so all these cycles that we have, a lot of things that we didn't enjoy continue to perpetuate, and then it ends up being generational. And so it just continuously happens and continuously happens. And so the real goal of this is not only to solve this for yourself, to get over this, if this is something that really bothers you, it's to make sure that you don't keep doing it, that we don't keep having these same discussions year after year after year. Like eventually, let's just squash all this stuff. Like let's realize that people are just people, and they're just trying the best they can. And most people are super hurt. And so we have to get to a space where we don't just keep repeating the same old stuff. We can make new choices, and we can make them really beautiful. And that way Our kids understand, our friends understand, our siblings understand, our parents know that they're off the hook. You got to do that kind of deeper work. That's the best thing. Once you do it for yourself, you spread it out and do it for everybody else around you.
Yeah. So speaking of kiddos and people being people, Chris and I have talked a lot about how, these Instagram algorithms and YouTube videos, if you cuss at all, they dock you. So we're like, oh, maybe we should just try to figure out how to do that. And we're like, no, we don't. We're just passionate people. We are real people and we use real language. And so we want to give you a warning that if you're watching and there's little kids around, we will be using real passionate language.
Good. You did it.
Yep, we did it. Disclaimer. Whoop, whoop. Now make sure you download your workbook so that you can follow along. I've left the link over in the chat. You can find it inside the masterclass or email. We try to make it as easy as possible for you to access all this wisdom. So if you guys are ready for this training, give us a thumbs up, a hell yes in the chat box, and let's get this party started. Whoop, whoop. Inner badass is shining. All right. So in this training, you're going to learn how to stop beating yourself up. Oh my God. This is like, if you realize that you're the one talking shit to yourself and it's no one really outside of yourself, that is the best thing that you can find out today, because that means you can change it. And we're going to show you how to become your own inner cheerleader.
Oof. We're also going to talk about why shooting on yourself is wasting your life.
And a systematic way to eliminate that little voice inside your head that says, you're a fraud, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, who are you to do those things? Because we all hear those phrases. So it's a matter of what we do next rather than letting it stop us right in our tracks.
Oh my gosh, this is a big one. We're also going to talk about how to overcome the need for approval. I think this is one of the biggest things that so many people are always dealing with.
And that leads us to the power of unconditional self-love. Like I said, if you're the one beating yourself up, the good news is you're the one that can stop it. So I want to know, if you have been your own worst enemy lately, it's okay to be honest with yourself. I want you to right now vow that this training is going to be the moment that you give yourself permission to stop beating yourself up, to love on yourself, and to let the little things slide. Chris always tells me this as a productive perfectionist. Chris is always like, babe, if it won't matter in 5 years, don't waste more than 5 minutes on it. And I can't tell you how much of my past time I've spent being frustrated or angry or upset about stupid shit. I see clients in relationships fight over stupid shit. I see my parents, well, not anymore, but I see my parents fighting over stupid shit. And I'm like, why are you fighting about the way GPS is telling you to turn? You got to go left, bitch. Like, come on, what's going on? So we get so worked up over little things, like as a perfectionist, and it can create loads of negative energy, anger, frustration, resentment. And that is way worse than the like little extra line that you put on your journal and you didn't mean to, because it was supposed to be pink and damn it, you have the blue pen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of little details that we get frustrated about. And don't look at me like I'm crazy, because all of you are like, I know exactly what she's talking about. I do that too. Like, oh, why wasn't this just like right here to the left? God, I can't believe he didn't put it in the perfect spot. Now you can see the ring dust, like, come on. Little shit that doesn't matter. Don't waste more than 5 years. So commit in the chat, in the comment today, right now. Let's go. We're going to commit to letting go of the little shit. My mom always says, let it go, Louie. And that's what we're going to do today.
Yeah, I really think that, real quick, let's check in. Where are all of you feeling? How do you feel? How do you feel in general? Let's do 1 to 10. How do you feel? 10 being, I feel totally amazing. 1 being like, this has been a total crap week, a crap month.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay. And a 6, 7.
You guys are doing good.
Yeah. Good.
Yep. Michelle out of 9. Whoa, girl. Whoa, you're on. Woo. Diana, a 4. Diana, I'm so glad that we reached out. Something intuitively was just like, we got to check on this little fairy. Where's she at? We haven't seen her sparkle magic around here.
Listen, Diana, you're going to feel good by the end of this guy. I mean, you all know we're going to do the huge meditations today. And I promise that you will leave this feeling better than you stepped in here at. Whatever the number is, it's going to feel better. Obviously, Michelle's going to be a 10. It's good. So that's great. So what you really want to do is, when we do these meditations, really give yourself to it.
Yeah.
Definitely pay attention during the other parts. But when we do the meditation specifically, let yourself be in it as much as possible.
I just pictured like people, what are they scrolling through Instagram while we're here?
No, I just mean like a lot of times when you're listening to something, your mind can be in 50 other places.
Truth.
And it's easy for that to happen. We always have thoughts banging around in our brain, no matter what we're doing. The thoughts come up, it's fine. But during the meditations, let it just totally absorb all of you. Let yourself be 100% there. Use your imagination, pretend, whatever it is that you have to do, but let yourself be there. You'll get a ton of change on the ones that we're doing today, a ton of change.
So it looks like everyone who's high vibe in this week is talking about how low their energy and their number was last week. Even my coaching clients felt this way last week. I personally felt low. Yesterday, I was a total shit show on our team meeting call. I'm like, I don't care about funnels. I don't care about any of this. But you guys know I'm going through some crazy stuff with my dad passing away. And so, my emotions are on the rise. And I want you guys to look at these numbers and hear what you guys are saying. Last week, I was a 3, but today, this week, I'm a 9. Think about that. Think about how much our energies and our emotions like go up and down and up and down. And it's so important for us to know that things are always changing. So you don't have to be who you've always been. You can always give yourself permission to give yourself grace, to take it easy, to slow down, to rest. So I hope that just by bringing that awareness to how we felt like shit last week, like, I don't know what was in the cosmos, and how we're all kind of feeling much better this week. It's so important that we have to find that flow. And when our energy is low, we have to honor that. And when we have the energy to push forward, we go ahead and do 2 more things, 2 extra things, because we can. But that, I feel like, is the key ingredient to how you can calm down being a perfectionist. Is like, when a perfectionist is someone who's trying to push through the low times, and we don't have enough energy to give, and it can deplete us and cause other issues. So it's really important that you manage that level of energy that you have. And when you don't have enough to give, it's okay. You don't have to beat yourself up and feel guilty. Give yourself that grace to say, okay, I need a nap and I should not be on social media for the next 3 days. And that's exactly what I prescribed to my coaching client on her PMS week last week. Yeah. All right, guys, let's dive in. Let's talk about why we are perfectionists. All of this starts as a childhood. It's a response to trauma, divorce, critical parents, abuse. All right, everyone's now like scooting in a little bit. And they're like, okay, we're just diving right into the trauma, y'all. We were reading through the workbook and Chris goes, damn, we're going to be going deep today. Like, why do you think that perfectionism is such a problem? It's because it actually stems from these earlier childhood traumas that we go through, where we need to look for that external validation.
Yeah, which is totally natural. What's weird is that all of this is natural. And a lot of times, the people who do these things to us, the people who start this kind of really negative cycle for our lives, don't usually mean to. Oh, for one, most people don't normally have that kind of awareness that they're doing that. A lot of times people and parents and teachers are trying to get a kid just to do better, to sort of like guide them, but they guide us as parents. And a lot of times as parents, you don't realize where the child is, because as kids, we don't know anything. I mean, we can't do anything. And so we rely so much on them. And so what we end up doing is we learn that love, praise, and approval comes at a price. And that price is you a lot of times being something different. I know Britt as a kid was a little rebel. She wanted to wear this. She wanted to have her hair like that. And but it caused problems, right? She found out that in school, the school wanted her to act a certain way. And if she moved back to who she naturally was, being wild and free, that's not okay. We got to punish that kid. And so this happens constantly. So it's our parents tell us how to be, what to do. We go to church, they tell us how to be, what to do. We go to school, they tell us how to, and it's just repeated our whole lives. The media shows us what we should be interested in.
Yeah, we try to live up to someone else's expectations and relationships. We're like, oh, I'll be this person I think they want me to be, so they'll like me. Which, when you become your true self and you let that slip, then all of it hits the fan and you're like, well, why don't you like me? It's because the version of yourself that you've been showing was never you to begin with.
Yeah, I think this is one of the big reasons why a lot of relationships don't work out. Is because you meet the person, you're so excited, your love chemicals, your serotonin, everything is pumping like crazy. And so you say, what are your brain biology, the wiring says, what's the highest likelihood actions I need to take and thoughts that I need to think in order for us to mate? Biologically, we're wired to do that. And so we say the things that aren't always true. We over-exaggerate, we underplay certain things, we pretend we're not crazy. And so we run in there and everything is perfect. Like, oh my gosh.
Every single vagina is smiling so big today, right now, because we all know that we're pretending to not be crazy.
Right. And so you get in there, and then suddenly you start letting, it's been a little while, you've gotten comfortable, you've done all the things, and then suddenly your crazy comes out and you're yelling at the person because something really small happened. And you're like, oh my God, what is going on? And they meet you. They meet the crazy part. And you're like, and their relationship falls apart because you're just yelling at each other all the time. And it all started back because we weren't ourselves. We didn't just come out. The reason why I knew Britt and I were going to get along is because the first night that we spent together ever, the very first night, how we met, we're just sitting in a car in a parking lot and just talking. We just talked, and there was Britt has no filter. She didn't have a filter then. And so she just told me.
So bad.
She just unloaded everything. I didn't know if we were at a therapy session or like what exactly was going on. But her raw.
And then we made out.
Hey, that's not on the copay from the insurance. But really though, I knew that her honesty, even though sometimes stings for a lot of people because she just comes out and says it, and you're like, whoa, wow. But it's because of that I knew she'd always be herself. And so I knew that the Britt that I met is the Britt that was going to be there the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. And for me, I fell in love with that. And I think as people, a lot of times we're so afraid to be who we are because people will reject us. And the reality is people will reject us. That is what will happen. So what? If the person's not going to like you anyways, you do not need them around. They're not for you. They're for somebody else. Let somebody else fill that role for them. Just the same way, it doesn't matter like how perfect you do something. You can make the perfect movie. You could write the perfect book. You can make the best food. Somebody's going to hate it. Somebody's going to hate it. You go to a restaurant, like I don't like seafood, right? Even before we went plant-based, I hated seafood. I thought it was disgusting. And so like you can make the best anything seafood. I'm going to hate it. I don't like it. It doesn't mean you did a bad job. It doesn't mean it was about you. It's about me. It's about me and my preferences. So just realize that you don't always have to be that preference for some people. Some people are going to come into your lives and do certain things, and some are just going to dip out and fade. And that's okay. We have to allow people to go find what it is that they need. And if it's not us, so be it. Fantastic. It's best to know that early rather than spend 15, 20 years and finally figure that out. It's best to know it from the beginning. But it all starts in that early stage where we learn that if we do what they want us to do, if we clean our room the way our parents want us to, if we go and make the grades at school the way they want us to, they give us a lot of love. They praise us. They admire us. They give us the gold star on the wall. All the kids are jealous now. We get more recess. We get so much reward from being like what other people want us to be. And so you have to find
standing in line and being quiet.
Whatever that is.
If you're bad, we'll take a star off. Oh my God, that always happened to me because I talk so much. Like, God, you're talking so much. We're taking a star off. Like, I'm talking because I have a lot to say and you need to listen.
So don't diminish yourself. This is something that comes up as we are kids, but we have to unlearn it as adults. For kids, it works in a lot of ways because it makes them not cross the road. It makes them not put their, fork in the light socket and all those kind of things. But
it also stops them from going after those weird intuitive nudges and those big dreams that you have for yourself that are outside of what society expects us to do.
Gosh,
I know.
This is an intense topic. This is intense because I know that on every level.
Tweezers in the socket.
We know that everybody deals with this. Yeah. It's one of those things that just, it starts. And so we have to unlearn it all.
Yeah. Anne says the fear of judgment has held me hostage from many things in my life, even recently.
Oh my gosh. I just want to give everybody a hug.
The truth is you're only judging yourself. It's not the other people's judgments that you're worried about. And you can set yourself free by recognizing that the only ones that are judging you are the ones sitting on the sideline, not in the game. So who gives a shit? If you're not in the game and you're not taking the action and you're not living a life that you would be inspired by, then why do we care what they think? As you guys know, I always say, if you don't know my middle name, I don't care what your opinion is. And it feels like, Anne, maybe these people do know your middle name. And a lot of times we fear not only people that we don't know and all the Instagrammers of the world, but we also fear what our parents will think or what our family will say, or even what our partner will say. There's been so many. Chris came home. We were just talking about this. Chris came home when I first was in beauty school and I had all this black makeup on my face and glitter and I looked like the cosmos. Like we actually saw a picture of the cosmos and I was like, hey, it looks like that makeup I did that one time. time when you came home and like, what the fuck are you doing right now? I'm like, dude, I'm just like being creative expression. I'm just like being myself and like being weird and putting glitter on my face and purple lips. And it was just so funny how something like that could stop someone from allowing their weirdness to shine or their creative expression to come through because they're afraid of what their partner will think. First and foremost, you need to be with a partner that can accept all of you, your authentic self, you putting on the black glitter all over your face when they're out for the day, like just whatever it is you want to do.
Oh my gosh, I can so picture you like that. I just came home and she just in full, like she's going to be in Cirque du Soleil, just makeup going crazy. And I'm like, what happened in here? What is going on? And it was awesome. I wasn't mad about it or anything. I mean, and she wouldn't have cared if I would have been, but like, it's like, what was happening, babe? You just gotta be you.
Yeah,
you really gotta be you.
You really have to be okay and comfortable with being yourself. And then you won't care about what other people are judging you and the actions that you're taking, because the actions will be so in alignment with your authentic integrity and your beliefs and like what you want to do and your goals and dreams, that they don't understand that. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you want, what you're passionate about. So it's really important to not allow people who don't even get your vision to judge it.
Dang. So here's what happens, right? People have demands for us. And then we learn that doing what their demands are gives us the reward that we're looking for, which is normally love, acceptance, and approval. It's hard not to want those things. It takes a lot of self-awareness, self-worth to not desire those things from people. And then because those actions are effective, because doing those things that give you the reward that works so well, your brain defaults to that. And so when someone tells you, well, I don't like when you wear this low cut thing, or I don't like the way you act when you're around these people, or you're not this, or you're not that. What we end up doing is we say, okay, I won't be those things, because we get the reward. And then it reinforces that pattern. And so we never come until we get out of a relationship or away from those people, or we move out, or whatever ends up happening. Sometimes the people have to pass away. They don't release their stranglehold until we let them break free. Like we have to break them free from us, which is definitely one of the meditations we're going to be doing today. But if you've been in that, if you felt that, like, man, it's been so heavy for me, here's what I want you to do. It doesn't have to be now, you can do it later, but just take your arms up. You're going to wrap them around your body. You're going to close your eyes, and you're just going to say, I love me.
Ooh, I love me.
I love me.
I love me.
And give yourself a hug like it matters. Like, hey, I'm with you the rest of my life. Until my last breath, this is going to be the thing that I'm with. So I love you. Ooh, yeah, feels good, right? It feels good. We forget it. Hugs are so rewarding, and we don't ever hug ourselves. When was the last time you spent 5 minutes hugging yourself? Just being like, man, I love me. We don't do it. We forget.
You actually had us do one of these meditations in a previous masterclass, and I do that all the time now because I didn't realize like how powerful it is to caress yourself. Like it gives you that comfort and that support, the love that you need. I love it. And sending some sparkle magic to Anne. She said, tears are already flying today. We are on fire. So remember here, guys, the rule: perfectionism isn't about being perfect. It's about temporarily escaping pain. We put ourselves through so much. And as a perfectionist, we spend months, years, decades trying to make this perfect little thing before we present it to the world. And meanwhile, we miss so many opportunities because we're so focused on, well, it's got to be tweaked. I can't get this book out into the world, or I'm not going to launch this website, or, oh, I'm never going to share my art because people will judge it. It's so important that we just put it out there. We just keep going. We just keep creating. And the more that we allow ourselves to put it out there, to keep creating, and to follow what feels good instead of running away from what doesn't, is going to give you the opportunities that you really want, that are in alignment with what feels good for you. When we're trying to avoid pain, we attract, guess what we attract? More fucking pain so that we can avoid it, which is, it's like, damn it, why do we do this? So recognize that and understand that when you give yourself permission to shift from escaping pain to following what feels good, you start to attract all new opportunities and experiences in your life that then you're like, I just thought about it differently, and now my life looks different.
It's so important because, I mean, if you were here last month, you remember we went over self-hypnosis, and one of the big things is that your mind works perfectly. It is always trying to give you what you want, but it only knows what you focus on. And so if you focus, like Britt said, on escaping pain, it says, ooh,
more pain.
Let's find more situations where we can escape pain from. It doesn't say, where can we find more happiness? Where can we find more joy? Where can we find more compassion, love, and all those wonderful things? It's just, where can we find the situation? How can we attract the people and the jobs and everything that we want where we can escape the pain? So you got to switch what you're focused up on. You got to be thinking about, what is it inside me that really lights me up, that just makes me so happy? And how can I continuously feed my brain that kind of food?
So before we move on to our first meditation, I want to ask you guys a question. Is there anything that has been triggered where you're like, oh my God, now I realize my mom said that thing to me about how I never cleaned my room good enough, like, which, hello, that was mine. And that's why I hired a housekeeper who's coming at 4:00 today. But like, is there something from your childhood? Was there a trauma? Was there a critical parent or a divorce or something where you felt like you needed that approval or that love? I want to take a moment and pause before we get to the end. By the time we go through these 3 meditations, we've realized after 3 years, you guys don't really have a whole lot to ask at the end of the training. Everyone's so relaxed and calm. So I want to take a moment to just pause and ask, are there any questions that are coming up for you right now? Is there anything that was triggered, or you're like, oh my God, I realize now I'm a perfectionist because my mom was like that, or my dad was very critical? Or is there something that you want us to dive deeper on, specifically when it comes to why we are perfectionists? Where did this start? How did this happen to me? So if there's any questions that you have about that, please leave them in the chat now, and then we'll move on to our onion layer meditation. Let's see. I'm thinking of all the Catholic school crap I went through. For sure, a trigger. Oh man, Chris went to a private school as well.
It was different.
And yeah.
Couldn't have long hair. You couldn't have hair below your collar. Always had to wear a belt. My shoes had to be 90% black. Everyone's in a uniform. They just want you to learn certain things. It's not necessarily about who you are as an individual. It's how well can you score on tests, which, it was good in some ways, but in some ways, it was very dulling. Your spirit definitely gets crushed in that kind of environment. You get built up for business. Business wise, I can dance laps around most people, but when it came to being expressive, that's a lot of what Britt taught me. A lot of what, sort of the work that she probably never knew she was doing, that I hadn't tried anything myself. I was very black and white, the whole thing. That's why I always say you bring color to my life. It's because I just didn't do that. It wasn't accepted. You can't do those things. It's different.
Oh my gosh, I colored my saddle shoes and got detention. Well, that makes sense why we're all hairstylists here. Okay.
Yes.
Anne says perfectionism and chakra blockages, how they relate is what comes up to mind. Throat chakra trauma, be quiet, don't talk too much. Yeah, our throat chakra governs our creative expression. And we did a whole masterclass on communication and throat chakra and chakras. So if you're someone who wants to explore even deeper on how they connect, that is a great masterclass to go back to. Catholic guilt is so real. Sophia says, I used to hate the woods, and I went and got lost in the woods alone. And a story when I was 8 came back to me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy how these childhood experiences, especially if we look at them from an adult perspective, everything's okay. But as a child, we don't know that. And so we go into this crazy, like, adrenaline dumping mode that imprints our DNA, essentially. It imprints our subconscious mind. And that's a new belief. It's like, woods, bad. I can never go there. Bad, bad, bad. And that is as far as it will allow you to go until you push beyond that limit or that comfort zone and really find that fear was something that you are creating in your own mind. Yeah. Now, danger is real. We just went skiing, and that shit was scary because you can die. Okay. I realized real quick, like, wow, first time skier. Realized real quick, like, there is definitely a difference between imagined fear, like shit we're projecting and making up, and like when you're looking off the side of a mountain and you're not really sure how to stop. Oh gosh. All right, let's keep going. Growing up was a lot of drama. I tried to blend in everywhere to feel safe and normal. Yeah, it's a coping mechanism for sure. Like dulling your sparkle so that you don't stand out because you are afraid to be seen is certainly a byproduct of that.
Yeah. For sure.
Mm-hmm. Probably all the athletic stuff I did.
Coaches and everything for sure.
Oh Lord, I had a lot of coaches. One time I had a coach. Okay, before we move into this meditation, I've got stories today. One time when I ran track in middle school and I had huge boobies in middle school. Okay. I was running and I got to the finish line and she's like, you're going to knock a tooth out with one of those things, honey. You need to put 2 sports bras on. I'm like, what the fuck? You can't say that to me. I'm in 7th grade, honey. Like, whoa. So you never know, like those phrases or those things that someone says, even if it's a joke, stick in your psyche, and you then operate from that feeling of not good enough.
Oh,
all right.
so strong.
Let's remove all that bullshit in this next meditation. Y'all ready to let it all go with peeling back all the layers? Have you guys ever noticed that you like when you're healing through your trauma, you're like, oh, I'm good. And then you have a memory and you're like crying like a baby and
it's not good. It's not
Netflix
good.
and Oreos. And you're like, I thought I was done with this. What happened? It's layers. It's layers. But guess what? Every layer gets easier and easier because that hard part and that really painful like sting from the past is removed. And then you start to understand, ooh, here's more learning lessons. Ooh, here's more wisdom. Ooh, here is where I have found my strength and reclaim my power because I know I'm a badass because I went through this hard stuff. All of the layers represent different stages of growth, understanding, and wisdom so that you can leave the pain of the past behind and take the wisdom with you moving forward. So this meditation is going to help peel back those heavy layers that are no longer positively serving you.
Yeah, so get ready, get in a nice, safe, comfortable position, uncross your arms and legs. We're going to be closing our eyes. So if for some reason you're doing this in a car, don't do that. It's bad news. The idea is that we all put on either layers or masks. You know, maybe you can think of these as masks. I call this the onion layer meditation, but you can think of it as masks too. It's just being somebody else. It's just putting on something that blocks us, that says, hey, if you accept this extra layer, that's really me, but it's not. You're deep at the core. It's you with all the masks off. It's you at the inner side of the onion. And so that's what we really want to get to today, for you to experience like who you are. So if you've always put the role of mom on, or employee, or boss, or sister, or friend, or daughter, or all those kind of, whatever it is, we want to have you close your eyes down in a moment and take all of those off, just so you can just be you for a minute. Just you without the expectations, you without all that kind of stuff. So close your eyes and take a few nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Just let yourself be still. And again, with all these meditations, you want to be here as much as you can. We close our eyes, allow ourselves focus. So just relax your body. Just let a nice big wave of relaxation come down your body. Let it start from the top of your head, send it all the way down the tips of your toes. Let that body relax. I'm sure you're probably holding tension somewhere in your shoulders, maybe your neck. Unclench your jaw if you're gripping your teeth. Just let yourself relax for a moment. Good. Now, I want you to imagine yourself as an onion or with a lot of masks. And with each layer that you've put on yourself is another mask for another layer. And at the core of all this, beneath all the layers, is this true, authentic, beautiful self, the natural you, the you that you really are. And so at the count of 3, what I want you to do is I want you to begin peeling the layers off. Peel them off one by one, or peel the masks off. And each time you peel it off, I want you to feel that you become more you, because you've always been being someone for somebody else. But have you been you for you? So let's find out who this beautiful you is. Begin 1, 2, 3. Begin peeling those layers off, peeling those masks off, and feel how heavy they are as you set them down. Feel how they've been weighing on you. Feel they've been slowing you down. Peel them off and peel them off. And as you do, notice that inside your light begins to shine brighter. Each extra layer that we put on dulls ourselves. So notice that as you pull each off, you become brighter. You become more full of love. You become more full of joy. Now, when you get to the core, I want you to feel that presence. Feel that presence of your true self. Feel that deep love that you have for yourself. Feel that deep love that you have for the world. Feel how much you matter. How much brightness you have, how much light you have. Now, still holding on to that feeling, still holding on to that authentic self. Whenever you're ready, I want you to take a nice, big, deep breath. Open your eyes and notice how good you feel.
Okay, this was so crazy. I was peeling my layers of my onion, and when my onion was gone, I peeled off my fat, like my body's fat, like as another layer of protection.
Interesting.
And then when I saw my true self, it was a unicorn. It was like straight up unicorn face. Like,
oh my gosh. I love it.
It was amazing. Glowing orb stepped out of a bodysuit and rinsed off the words and the masks. Oh my gosh, that's powerful. So I did the same thing. It was like I pulled all the fat off my body. It was like, what is this? Like, who needs this? Oh, beautiful. My hands tingled. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
We're just getting started.
All right, let's talk about 5 ways to overcome the need for approval. And a lot of this stems from, we think it's approval from someone else, but ultimately it always boils down to our own self-approval. The first one is become friends with rejection. Listen, you're going to be told no all the time. People are going to reject you left and right. Doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means you're not their cup of tea. Dita Von Teese said that you could be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world, but there's always someone who doesn't like peaches, kind of reiterating what Chris was saying earlier. And that's exactly what this is. Just because you're not someone's cup of tea doesn't mean that you're not absolutely amazing. I'm not a lot of people's cup of tea, like a lot, especially in Texas. And I'm okay with that. But I'm Sophia's cup, and I'm Diana's cup, and I'm all of y'all's cup because you're here, okay? And you get me. And so it's important to know that even if you're surrounded, if you're a unicorn in a field full of cows, like your unicorn friends are out there. You just have to give yourself permission to let go of the ones that aren't supporting you, to make room for the ones that want to show up in your life and love you just the way you are.
Oh my gosh. And this is so powerful, because think, once you don't need to be accepted, once you overcome the whole thing where like, my voice doesn't matter, my opinion doesn't matter. Think about how you feel when you walk into a room. Like, what's different? Think about the things that you'll stop saying yes to or start saying no to. It's different, because if you don't need someone to love and accept you, it's an entirely different game that you're playing.
Yeah, that's total freedom when you can walk into. What? Nah, we're just here for Chris. Just kidding. The Carmichael experience.
And I love you,
it.
Ann.
I'm here for Chris too, y'all. So like, no biggie.
Hey.
Oh my gosh, I love you guys so much. It's true though. We're here for you.
Aw.
We love you.
I love y'all.
Oh, yeah, you're
Big
the
heart to
best.
y'all.
You're like the only dude around here, so you know.
I like it. I like women. I'm just saying. You know? I've always been a fan.
Oh my Lord.
It's true. All right, number 2, develop self-worth. This so much has to do with how you picture yourself. A lot of times we think about self-worth just as in terms of self-care and things like that, and doing nice things for us. But a lot about it is how we picture ourselves. And so when we project out into our future, the way that we think about self-worth is, what are you projecting? When you think about what's going to happen in your future, when you think about what's going to happen in a specific opportunity, when you think about what happens when you're with your partner, how are you picturing yourself? That's all you really need to change. You don't have to do crazy things. Once you change the image in your mind, the actions will automatically follow behind. So don't try and change the actions all the time. That's what most people do, and that's why they fail, is because it's difficult to break habits. But what's easy is to change the image that you see in your mind, and that image already has the different habits. So this is an indirect way of making big changes. You change the image, you automatically get the habits. If you only work on the habits, the image never changes. And that's why eventually we stop doing them. It's because when people try to do a new diet or something like that, they're like, hey, I want to lose weight. What they do is they go after the food, but they don't go after their self-image. And so eventually what ends up happening is they still have the exact same self-image. And eventually their brain says, well, that's not who we are. So why would we keep doing these things? And that bacon and popcorn and everything else smells good. So we're just going to go in there and get that cupcake. We're going to eat those chips because I like the chips. It's nice. Ice cream's good. I like it. Rather than when you change the self-image to say, I'm not the kind of person who eats those things, now you automatically have the habits. So self-worth is about that. It's all about changing the image that you have inside your mind.
Oh, so powerful. Anne says, when I think of the future, I don't place myself into the goals and dreams. Time to change.
Yeah, you'll get it much faster because your brain will say, it's like magnetism. This is all about magnetism. Yeah. And that's why I don't like high effort stuff. I'm not into it. I see so many people work really hard and nothing happens. And it's sad to watch. And a lot of times it has to do with exactly what you're talking about. It's set your brain up so that it goes and gets it for you.
Yeah. It's one thing to picture, if you're for us, you guys know we want a farmhouse. It's one thing to picture the farmhouse. It's a different thing to picture yourself in the farmhouse, feeling how it would feel to be in that experience and allowing those emotions to be that magnetic attraction. Excuse me. So the next thing that you're going to want to do to stop the need for approval is to set commitment boundaries. This is for the perfectionist who start something. If they find, well, first of all, they finally get all the courage and all the gusto and all the things that you need to get started. They take one step and then they stop because it's not perfect. This is going to give you, if you set this commitment boundary, if you say, you know what, there's this thing I want to do, and you set up deadlines on your calendar, it's going to be a lot easier for you to stay committed to that thing that you want to create, rather than getting caught up in that, well, I'll do it when I feel like it, or I'll do it tomorrow, or I don't feel like it because it's just not good enough. I don't think I'm going to do this anymore. You've got to really commit and put it on the calendar and kind of show up despite what your fear is making you feel.
This is also about being able to say no to other people.
Yeah.
When you commit to yourself, you don't have the time for everything else. So when your friend wants to do that, or when someone else wants to do this, you just say, hey, no, I'm working on this cool thing right now. I got to put some time and effort into that. I'm sorry, I can't do these things that you're asking me to do that definitely do not fall in line with what I want to be doing in my life. Mm-hmm. And so it gives you a moment. I don't need your approval. I'm already working on all this other cool stuff. You go off and do your thing and work on your cool stuff, and then we'll meet back together. It's being able to tell people no. And this goes right back up to rejection. The person might be upset, and so you have to get fancy with how you say no. But it doesn't mean just saying yes because there's going to be an uncomfortable moment. There's going to be a lot of uncomfortable moments. And the faster you're able to start navigating them and have default things that you say, it makes it much easier if you just go with, no, I can't do that right now. Versus you explain it, it's a long story, then you guys get into an argument, you talk about how they never helped you, and that's stupid. Just get into, nah, I'm good. I've got some other things I'm going on. We'll see. But it's being able to have that default so that when you get into the moment, you don't just crumble, because it's easier a lot of times just to say yes, to overcommit yourself to things that you're not that interested in or that won't help you that much.
Yes, so powerful. Are there things that you are saying yes to? I mean, this is the 7 or above rule. This boils right down to it. Are there things in your life or people in your life that you're saying yes to right now, that you're doing it out of obligation or a need for approval, or, hopefully they'll like me, or I'll get a promotion at work if I do these things, even though it's not authentic to you? Is there something or someone that's creating that, and you're doing that in your life right now? Take a moment to just kind of be mentally aware and scan, like, is there anywhere in my life where I am, seeking that approval and not being myself, saying yes when I don't want to?
So number 4, stop with the should. Mm-hmm. Stop that. So should is a word for guilt. Should is just another way. The second that you say the word should, the feeling going on in your body is guilt. I should do this. I should do that. Either do it or don't do it. That way you don't go with the shoulding. That's just a lot of extra energy that you're spending on something that won't help. So my mom always says that guilt never stops you from doing anything. It only stops you from enjoying what you're doing. And so make sure that if you're going to do it, go full out. Just go in there. Hey, I'm doing it. I didn't do it this other way. It might have been nice if I did it, but that's not the way we did it. So let's not think about it. The should, I find so many people sit at night and replay things in their head. They replay what they could have done that day, or how they could have answered this conversation differently, or if they would have done this, but it defeats tomorrow. The thing you want to be doing at night is having a quick rundown of what I'm doing tomorrow, what the outcomes I want them to be like, and then go to sleep.
It's important to self-reflect and go, could I be better? Yesterday, I literally cussed out this customer service rep. I hung up the phone and immediately was like, whoa, like, calm down, girl. And that was a beautiful reflection. Did I beat myself up the rest of the day? No, we laughed about it. We're like, damn, I'm clearly going through some shit emotionally. Gotta kind of step back and maybe not make customer service phone calls while I'm emotionally grieving. So I reflected and I accepted, and I immediately said, oh my God, I forgive myself for doing that shit. Like, my bad. You shouldn't have been a dick, but I also could have still chosen peace and love. And I didn't. And that showed me like, oh, I'm off my center. I'm not in alignment with what feels good. And so this leads me to number 5, accept all of yourself, the light and the dark. Those moments where you're like, fuck you, and you hang up on them. It's okay. It's okay. But the most important thing is, what are you going to do tomorrow? This is where Chris comes in. What are you going to do tomorrow to be better? What are you going to do tomorrow to not get knocked off your center of peace? It's so important that we reflect and we accept, and then we plan for the next step, rather than getting stuck in the, oh my God, I'm so terrible. I'm a horrible person. Now Julio's going to think about how mean I was all week and judge me. No. Reflect, accept, move forward.
Dang. So the rule here is people treat you the way you allow them to treat you. Mm-hmm. This is about boundaries. This is about being okay with rejection. This is about being okay with making people uncomfortable. Like, hey, I'm not into that. We're in Texas, which sadly means there's a ton of racism here. And it means that you get into conversations where you just are like, hey, we're not going to talk about that anymore. We don't see things the same way. This conversation is over. Yeah. You just put an end to it. Don't allow everything to just run over you. Whoa, stop here. Stop. I'm not interested in this conversation. I'm done.
I was just sharing that exact advice with my 18-year-old sister, telling me about some creeper pedophile guy coming, his family friend apparently coming over and saying really inappropriate comments to her. And I just told her to say out loud, to scream, no, I will not accept this creepy conversation, and then walk away. But she was afraid. She was like, I told him, like, I don't want to talk about that. And she kind of told me all meek and quiet. And I was like, well, that's why no one's going to take you serious. Like, you've got to be firm and serious when it comes to your boundaries. Otherwise, people are going to walk all over you, especially if you've allowed it in the past. Woohoo! Okay, let's move on to the next meditation, where we're going to be walking you through what is called the Gestalt prayer. And basically, this is letting go of all of the expectations that everyone has had on you in your life, from coaches to parents to partners to yourself. This is going to be the opportunity for you to let go of all the expectations that were placed on you, as well as the expectations that you placed on other people.
Now, this is a meditation that we do a lot of times when we do forgiveness. This is one of the best ways to go through forgiveness, and it works just as well for expectations. And what we found is that when you let go of all the expectations people have had on you, there's this huge freeing moment that happens. It's almost like you're so tense and you're so tight, you can't do anything. And there's just this long release where you're like, oh my gosh, I've been holding on to all of this for so long. And it's so important to be able to allow yourself, like I said in the beginning, to go into this meditation, to allow yourself to see what's happening, to feel the feelings if they come up. They're not always comfortable. Yeah. That's why we move through it. You have to feel the feelings to really exercise them and let them go. And so this is one of those meditations that if you pay attention well enough on this one, there can be a lot of inner freedom that happens.
Okay. Is it Andrea or Andrea? Andrea. Okay. Andrea says, I make lists, tons of lists. Seems like I add to them more than I cross them off. Ooh, I'm there too, sister. Something that used to keep me organized now makes me feel like a lazy lump, my own worst enemy. Here's the deal. It's easy to come up with an idea, but it's hard to put all of it into action and implement and balance your time as a worker, a lover, a mother, a teacher, a whatever, all the hats that you wear. That requires time and energy. And we're on a slow, dense, moving physical planet that we can think of ideas left and right, but it takes so much more physical time to implement and make all of those things happen. We can think about being 10 pounds lighter, but damn it takes like a good 2 weeks or 3, it takes time. So I want you to remember that when you're making these lists, don't feel like you're accomplished by how much you check off, but rather how many seeds that you're planting. Every time you write down that idea, that means, oh my God, I've got more things to do with my life. I'm here for a reason. I got shit to do, not like, oh, I didn't get it all done today. Oh my God, my dream list of the next 10 years wasn't accomplished like by March 1st. Like what? I'm terrible. I have multiple books of dream journals and ideas. I want to create a journal, my next tarot deck. I'm thinking about my next Oracle deck, more t-shirt designs. Like there's so many creative ideas that I have written down in books that would I love to just wave a magic wand and they'd all be done? Yes, but that's really not where we derive the joy out of the whole process of trying to create something fun and new for ourselves. So just give yourself permission to keep filling up those books. The part where I would say you might get caught on is, are you staying consistent to those lists? That's where I would say the problem lies, not in how big the list is, but the consistency on how you're moving through them.
Yeah. Plus on that, I only put 3 things on my to-do list. There's only 3 ever. I don't do more than 3 things, or at least 3 big things. You do a bunch of small stuff. If it's things that take less than 2 minutes, that's fine. They go in a separate category, but it's only 3 big things per day. I can't do more than that. It's not normally capable. And so I focus on those 3 things. They're the 3 most important things. I do those, move on with the next day. And I have that feeling of accomplishment. And I also know that there's going to be a consistency so that my goals are already just kind of happening for me. I don't have to think about it.
I know. So expect less of yourself. And I think that's exactly what this meditation will help you do. So if you guys are ready for this nice, relaxing, releasing meditation that's going to help you let go of all the expectations and demands, go ahead and get comfortable, get relaxed. Begin to slow down your breathing. Inhale through your nose. And on your next exhale, you can close down your eyes when it's safe and comfortable for you. Relax your body, relax your mind. Let your breathing slow down. Give yourself permission to be fully present, to be open. Now take a moment to imagine everyone in your life who has had an expectation of who you should be seated in front of you. Imagine your coaches, your parents, your partner, yourself. Anyone that's placed expectations on you of who you think you should be. Take a moment to notice them sitting in front of you. And after you've noticed, I want you to say these words. I do my thing, and you do your thing. I am not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you are not in this world to live up to mine. You are you, and I am I. And if by chance we find each other, it's beautiful. If not, it can't be helped. Take a moment to let these words wash over you. Let the wisdom sink in. And send everyone love that's sitting in front of you, letting them off the hook and yourself off the hook. At the count of 3, let this scene disappear. 1, 2, 3. When you're ready, take a nice long deep breath. Open your eyes and notice how good you feel, being free of all those expectations and people pleasing.
Yes.
I love it. Wow. Yeah. I love it, guys. Oh, so powerful. I'm going to go back and do that one myself, a couple times probably.
So I have a recurring dream that happens to me, and it's been happening for years. And I'm back in school, and there's always a test or something that I didn't prepare for at all, that I had no idea was that day. And it's always me sitting outside. I can see myself in my little uniform. It's me sitting outside the classroom. And here come all my friends and everything. They're coming up to hey, did you study for this? And they're all talking about this test we're going to take or paper we're going to turn in or something like that. And I'm like, we had to do a who? What is happening? They're like, oh yeah. This is our final. This is our entire grade. I'm like, wait, what? And so I get in the class. Obviously, I'm not prepared. I get in the class and I get down to the test and I'm looking at it. It looks like, it's in German and I can't read anything. And so I'm like, what? Where's multiple choice at? What's all this essay stuff, And so I'm sitting down there, and then there comes a moment where I realize that I don't care. I realize that there's not going to be one test that determines my whole life, that there's not going to be one thing, and that it doesn't really matter that much. And I always end up getting up and walking out of the room. I always tell them, hey, I'm not interested in this anymore. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go do some other things now. And I saw those people that I typically see in that dream in the meditation. And I realized that they were people that had always had certain expectations for what I would do in school, what I would do in class, what I would do in athletics. And it was always that situation. And so it's so freeing to allow yourself to just release all that, to realize that you can walk away at any time. You don't have to, you're not here to fulfill other people's lives. This is for you. This is for your experience. This is for your lessons and your journey, and for you to figure out what's in there for you. So always let yourself know that if it's a problem, get up and walk away. I do it in every single one of my dreams. It's weird. It's every time I get up, I'm out. Anne
said her vision was like she was at a high school graduation with people being in rows that had expectations, and they all just started leaving.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's so powerful.
Ooh, Powerful.
You guys are amazing. All right, let's talk about how to eliminate the voice in your head that tells you you're a fraud. Anyone have this issue? Show of hands. That's a me. Like, yeah, okay. So you guys constantly are talking shit to yourself, being like, who am I to do this? That, again, classic imposter syndrome. But the best part is, who are you not to do it if you've had the idea? You guys don't have the same ideas that I get. You don't have the same ideas that she gets. You don't have the same ideas that she gets. And that is why it's proof that you're not a fraud, that you're actually here to create something that you're being inspired by. It doesn't have to be a copycat duplicate of something else. That's what culture and society teach you. But as a light worker, you're here to create these ideas that you're inspired with. Inspired means in spirit, the spirit within. You're getting this beautiful, and I don't love this phrase, but you're getting this divine download and allowing these ideas to come through you. You wouldn't get the ideas if you weren't meant to fulfill them. So that automatically takes you off the hook for feeling like a fraud. It's not like you're getting ideas of like, I should be a professional golf player, but you're really good at painting. Like, then you're a fraud, because like you should be painting and not playing golf. You see what I'm saying? But if you're getting an idea that is like, man, I feel like I should be a coach of some sort. I see this happen a lot with people who have wisdom. They've gone through trauma. They want to help and support other people. They feel like a fraud because they don't have 19 degrees on the wall or something that validates them. But let me tell you right here, right now, the fact that you're a living, breathing human validates you. Your wisdom is here to be shared, not only absorbed by you, but also to be shared and expressed with other people.
Yeah. And think about any time that you've needed help in your life. Think about that. A lot of times we just think from our point of view, but if you think from the point of view of the person that you're helping, like imagine that you suddenly needed CPR. It was something really bad going on. You need CPR. You need the Heimlich or something like that. Are you like, hey, oh, I'm choking to death. Can you show me your credentials first? No, you're like, please save my ass. I'm dying. Help, help, help. And what you don't realize is that because we put on the facade so much, so many of us put on the facade, or we got the perfect Instagram, but most people inside are just screaming inside their own head. They need help. And so instead of that, we're like, well, our help is not going to be as good as someone else's help. And so we dismiss it. We're like, no, I'm not going to help them. And the moment passes and they needed you. They needed that Heimlich. They needed that CPR. They needed you to be their life support in that moment. So don't hold yourself back just because it may not be the perfect way, or you might not be the perfect person. The person who was there is the perfect person. If my car breaks down, if somebody jumps me, I do not care what car they're driving. I don't care what they look like. I don't care if they're in an alien suit and come out and help me. I just need the help. It's not important. And if they just talk about dinosaurs the whole time and they're wearing, diaper and pajamas, I don't care. I need the help. So just make sure that don't hold yourself back from helping somebody. If that's something that's calling you, it's just let it be there. It's you. It's you. You're the one there. It's you.
Oh, I love it. Diana says, most of my life I battled with thinking that my ideas are worthless because they aren't original and have been done. Why do I have to be so hard on myself?
Oh my gosh, Diana, there is no.
That's a fucking
Diana.
joke. Hold on, I got to see her face.
Diana, you're the best.
Your outfits, when you come to the Goddess Gathering, I'm like, okay, I have to step up my game because she's in full costume fairy vibes over here. Okay, if you're... Diana's questioning originality over here.
Listen, Diana isn't original. There's no way you can't even be copied. It's crazy. We love you, Diana.
Love you, Diana. We love all of you. And I hope that her sharing this, being vulnerable, saying, I feel like my ideas aren't original. Like if you're getting the idea, it's your fucking idea. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm going to make a Walmart. Of course, that's already been done. But your outfits that you put together, your ideas, your creative expression, all of that is authentic to you. Sure, we may have seen a Pinterest DIY on how to glitter paint the da-da-da-da-da, but the way that we do it and the colors that we choose and the style and the energy and the love that we bring to the action of doing it doesn't make you a copycat. It just makes you inspired by this idea that wants you to create and allow it to come through you as well.
You're a badass.
Oh my God. You've got to be fucking joking me right now.
I know it.
I love you, honey. All right. Let's talk about how to eliminate that goofy voice that we all clearly have. Yep. Number one, find the reward you get from the habit. When you start to identify and recognize that you're looking for that pleasure and not that pain, it's going to be so much easier for you to find the actions that you need to take, to commit to those actions that you take that give you that sense of, it's like checking off your to-do list. How good does it feel to just, That's why Chris only does 3. So he can make sure he gets those check marks of adrenaline. You know what I'm saying? So give yourself, start to figure out how you need that reward.
Yeah. And also here, you have to see what it is that the voice inside in your head is keeping you doing. For a lot of people, playing the victim is something that they're used to, and playing small is something that they're used to. And so, because other people will pity them, other people will feel bad for them, other people will give them extra love if they're sick. And so we continuously play in this role. So you have to figure out, what is that reward you're getting from the voice inside your head saying certain things? Is it because you need to protect yourself? Like, well, I won't make a big Instagram account, or I won't get up on video because it's going to be weird and awkward. And so my subconscious mind is telling me, no, let's protect ourselves because people are going to make fun of us, and people are going to talk about how big our forehead is and how big our gums are and all this weird stuff. Who cares? It's the same thing. You're helping somebody. Get out of your own way. Find out what that reward is that you're holding on to that keeps you from playing small, and stop doing it. Because you don't realize how bad people need you. I think that was the big reality. When I started doing the work that I do, I didn't know people needed it. I had no idea, because no one just comes out and says that kind of stuff, because no one likes looking vulnerable. But then you get deep into the work and you're like, holy smokes, they needed that bad. I'm sure glad I came in the moment I did. And it's all of us. We don't realize how important we are to the development and to the ongoing needs of the people that are around us. Oh, you gotta get out of that. Whatever it's giving to you, you've got to let it go, because you're meant for more. You know, obviously
okay, Rachel Hollis.
It's true though. I mean, we are a lot of times we're meant for more, and it's true. Very often just changing a few little things about the way that we think. It's not about striving so much harder.
So just as we become aware of how we get these rewards, we also need to be aware of what that voice is saying. And that is number 2, just become the witness. Notice what you're saying to yourself. For me, that started when I was getting ready one day. I was putting on an outfit and I heard my inner voice say, oh my God, I'm so fat. I'm like, skirt. Whoa, I just heard my inner voice talking to me, and that was not very nice. And that was the first time I had awareness that I was even talking to myself. A lot of the times we're so unconscious to the fact that we do speak negatively to ourselves that it's so natural. It is a habit. So the most important thing for you to stop being your biggest critic and to become your own inner cheerleader is that awareness of, what are you saying to yourself? And then every time you find yourself speaking negatively to yourself, you've got to proactively say stop or cancel, and then give yourself some positive reinforcement or compliment or love that you need, rather than the negative voice that's beating you up.
Yeah. In the beginning, that would be really important to do, to swap what's being said. The other thing you can do, which is number 3, is to pause between hearing it and taking action. And that's what the meditative state does for us. It allows us to move. We're normally automatically going with our thoughts. Our thoughts, something comes up, says, I'm hungry. You step up, you go right into the kitchen, you immediately start eating something. But what if your thought said, I'm hungry, and you just sat there for a minute? You just took a big pause and said, maybe. So like, what if the thought comes in, I'm fat, or I'm whatever, or I'm not worthy, or I'm afraid, or whatever, and you just pause for a minute and thought, maybe that's how it is, maybe not. Suddenly what you've done is you've taken the voice and pulled its power away. You start to say, nope, I'm not automatically following this. I'm going to pause and decide, do I want to actually go with the action?
It's a response versus a reaction.
Yeah.
So mom used to always tell me, think before you speak. I'm like, I am. And that's why I'm not saying all the things I want to say right now to you, and just giving you the second version of how angry I am. But it is true. We have to have that level of pause for reflection to decide, is this in alignment? Does this feel good? And if not, what can we do to shift it or change it? And that's what number 4 is: change the voice or become friends with it. And when I started hearing my inner voice saying like, you're fat, you're not good enough, Chris taught me this awesome technique on how you can change the sound of the inner voice. So for example, if you take a moment to listen to that negative phrase that you tell yourself, whether it's I'm stupid, I'm a fraud, I'm not original, creative, I'm fat, or whatever the story is, take a moment to hear that. Just like play it in your mind. Like take a moment to, okay, what are those negative things I say to myself on repeat? I want you to take a moment to listen to how that sounds. Can you guys hear, am I talking crazy, or can you understand? Are you guys following along? You're like, yep, I know those negative things that I say to myself and I can hear them. Okay. I hear it. Good. Yes. Amazing. Okay. So Now that you've heard the phrase, I want you to tune into finer details, and I want you to hear, whose voice is it? Is it your voice? Is it your partner's voice? Is it a parent's voice? Is it a teacher or coach or somebody from the past voice? Does it sound just like you, or does it sound like someone else? My inner child crying out in pain.
Oh, sweet Anne.
God, Anne, I fucking love you. That's heavy. But it's important to identify now, whose voice is this? And the fact that you're witnessing it, who's the one witnessing that conversation? Right? So we're not the voice inside of our head if we can watch it. Everyone's mind's exploding right now. So here's what Chris taught me. He taught me that you can change the voice and the way that it sounds. So anytime I heard that phrase, I'm not good enough, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, blah, 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 whatever the story you're telling yourself is, I changed it to Minnie Mouse. You're so fat. I'm like, okay. Like, it makes it much less believable so that you can start to shift those negative stories. Because if they've been ingrained and imprinted in your brain for so long, it's going to feel like a truth, like a real belief. But when you start to shift and bring that energy a little bit lighter, change the tone or the volume in which you hear those negative phrases, it can help so much to start eliminating it and then rephrasing it to, I'm amazing, I'm a badass, I'm creative, I'm original, I'm here to do some cool shit. Like, whatever phrase you want that makes you feel good, you can replace with the negative things that you're telling yourself.
And you
It's
can
your
make,
choice.
and you can make that into a different voice. Like maybe it's, maybe it's the good witch, maybe you give that person to something that's really powerful to you. Mm-hmm. Maybe you find someone who you admire, or a character or whatever.
Or
maybe
Pinkie Pie from the My Little Pony.
Yeah. Just, and find something that gives you an inspirational voice and turn them up in your head. So that when you start to hear it, you think, well, when this voice talks, I listen to it. When that other voice talks, it falls on deaf ears. Mm-hmm. Because no one's going to take Minnie Mouse seriously. I mean, except for Mickey, since we're not that, And so it's important to figure out how you can manipulate the voices. It's true, though. I mean, the part that we talked about before about self-worth is manipulating the images inside your mind. Now we've gone a step further. We've begun to change the sounds that we hear. And once you can do those two things, you can manipulate how you feel. If you change what you're thinking about in your mind, which are the images, and what you're hearing and telling yourself, which are the sounds, you can feel however you want to in any given moment. If you want to feel happiness, if you want to feel confidence.
Repeat that for those in the back. I mean, that is powerful. Seriously.
Yeah. So if you can change the images that you have in your mind, what you're thinking about, and you can change the sounds that you hear or what you're saying to yourself, you can feel any way that you want at any given moment. So you're always deciding whether or not to do these things. So when you feel bad, you either have automatically let yourself do that, or you've forced yourself to do that. And you can always pause, retake control. The rule here is you control what actions you take. And so make sure you're manipulating this too. When you don't feel good, look at what you're picturing, what's going on in your mind, and look at what you're saying.
Is this helpful for you guys, recognizing that you can make those changes by shifting your thoughts or shifting the sounds that you're creating and hearing in your head? All of those things, then it's like a combination of the visions and the sounds. And when you put them together, that can create the action. Sometimes fear stops us from doing it, because it's not always bad. Sometimes the visions and the sounds are great. You have an idea to create a sticker company and you hear the sound like, you can do this. And then you're like, okay, action, I'm going to start this new company. So it depends on if you are going to allow it to be positive or negative. It's your choice. You get to decide if you're going to beat yourself up and then not take the action, or you are going to cheer yourself on and take the action. It's all boiled down to the thoughts and the sounds that you're creating inspire the action that you take. Yeah. Even better, make the good versus bad voices me characters and then tend to argue to reinforce it. Mine right now are from the Invader Zim, and Gur.
Yeah, you're definitely not a copy over here. Definitely totally an original.
Yeah.
Come on, Diana.
What a square. You guys are amazing. All right. The last meditation that we have for you today is the unconditional self-love meditation. This is really going to help you to release all of those high standards that people have held you to in the past. And most importantly, it was your choice to allow that. So we have to kind of take that responsibility and reclaim our power and start with that self-love rather than searching for it outside of ourselves.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing repeats for this meditation. We've done some of these in the past. What I'm going to end up having you do is closing your eyes, relaxing a little bit, and I'm going to have you repeat after me, mainly because we've been talking a lot about self-worth. These are the kind of voices and the kind of words that you want to have your empowering self say over and over again. And you just got to give your mind directives. What most of us do is we just kind of walk through life sort of in a brain fog, always just, crammed in our to-do list or moving from one task to another. And we forget to just pause and do these kinds of things to reprogram the mind, to get it back where we want it, to be running at optimal efficiency. And so this is going to give you the opportunity to do that. Also, this is going to be something that you can listen to in the future. And remember, any of these meditations, you can always go back to the training and play them. So if one of them really resonated with you, go back again. Put yourself a reminder in your phone. In 2 weeks, I'm going to listen to that again. Or maybe I need to listen to this every day for a week or two. This is going to be one of those ones that you can put on repeat. So I promise you, if you're going through a sucky day or you've had something that happens, which is going to happen, you can play this and I guarantee you'll automatically feel better, because we need to be reminded of these things continuously. And once you do it enough times, your brain will automatically say them to you. You don't have to fight it. All right, so let's do this. Everybody get comfortable. Arms and legs uncrossed. Shake it out for a second. I know we've been sitting for a little bit, so our bodies are a little stiff. I know mine is.
Oh, it's from that workout yesterday.
I know it. All right, so this is going to be our last meditation. I just want to remind you where we've come. We peeled back the onion layers to discover our true self. And then we've let go of the people who have had expectations for us. Now we're going to talk to ourselves. We're going to give ourselves a bit of a pep talk. And we're going to give ourselves the most unconditional love that we can. During this time, I want you to feel as much love as you can possibly give yourself. Just pour it on. Because perfectionism has hidden that a lot of times. It's always that I'm not good enough, my work's not good enough, something's not good enough. This is a reminder that I'm good enough just as I am. I'm already worthy. All right, so if you're ready, close your eyes. Take a nice couple long, deep breaths. Let your body relax. Let your mind start to relax. Just let your breathing slow down. Let your awareness come into your body. Push all the other outside sounds away. They're not important right now. The only thing that is important in this moment is what's going on with you. So I want you to use your imagination. I want you to imagine seeing yourself out in front of you. There's you standing there and you're seeing yourself. You're going to be talking to yourself. Now I want you to repeat after me. You can either do this in your own mind or you can do this out loud. Either way will work. So repeat after me. Hey, I've said some pretty mean things to you. I've said some things that weren't true. I was hurt. I was angry. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. I love you so much. And I'm going to start doing better. Because I am worthy. I love myself. I have so many talents and abilities. I am good enough. I approve of myself. I forgive myself. I am worthy. Feel it. Don't just say it. Make sure you feel it. I am worthy. I love myself. I have so many talents and abilities. I'm incredible. I'm good enough. I approve of myself. I forgive myself. I love myself. Take your arms and wrap them around your body. Give yourself a hug. And just remind you, I love myself. I'm so thankful for me. Thank you. Thank you. Now, when you're ready, open your eyes. Notice how good you feel.
Everyone's dead.
So I want you to think back to how you felt at the beginning of this and how you feel now. You feel a little deeper connection with yourself. You've let a little bit of the expectations go. You've realized that you don't need anybody's approval. It's you. You're the badass. And most people who we seek approval from, they don't even know us.
They probably suck too.
They might, you know?
Saying.
So just remember, you give yourself the love. It really matters.
I'm a fucking 10. I feel like I took drugs.
Yes.
Truth.
Yes.
When I open my eyes, I'm like, nope, not ready for this day. Like, I was not ready to come back. Whew.
I just wanted to remind you how powerful you are.
Love is a drug, y'all. Like, self-love is a powerful drug. Yes, it really is.
And it is perfectly okay and fine to love yourself. It is okay to love the hell out of yourself. You can be conceited about it. It's fine. Just let yourself
pull a Chris and walk by the mirror and be like, oh my God, I love myself. Look how good I look. You're amazing. You guys know his routine.
It works.
And if you guys want to take this even deeper and do some inner reflection, the journal prompts this month will absolutely help you to figure out, how does perfectionism hold you back? How is it actually hurting yourself or other people? And what are these flaws that are actually helping you? Sometimes the things we judge about ourselves are the exact thing that people love us for. And so it's important that we kind of do some of this inner reflection to show ourselves more compassion and more love, and really find a deeper understanding of why you have defaulted to the trauma response of perfectionism, and how you can choose to overcome it with the actions that you take.
Damn.
Let's talk about the 21-day challenge for this month.
Yeah. So one of the biggest places that, let's do the mirror challenge. That's what this challenge is for this month.
I was in a mirror in the last meditation.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I put her in front of me and I was like, no, that's weird. Let me put a mirror in front of myself.
Yeah.
So I was looking through the mirror.
Yeah. So the mirror challenge is because a lot of us really do beat ourselves up in front of the mirror. The other challenge that's excellent for this month is the rejection challenge, where you just go out and every day your goal is to be rejected by at least one person. So you just go out and ask for outlandish stuff.
That was a really powerful challenge.
It's very powerful, because once you don't need to be accepted, you start being able to ask for the help that you need. You start realizing that your opinion matters. And so when you're with your partner, or when you're with somebody, say, hey, why don't we do it this way? Let's try out this. I'm not really into the way we're doing this here. I like it like this better. But the mirror challenge for this one, that's a good one though. That's definitely one that we should be doing once at least every year. But the mirror challenge is just, you got to stop walking in front of the mirror and criticizing yourself. We already talked about it. There's going to always be somebody that's going to criticize you in the world. That will always happen, but it shouldn't be you. It doesn't need to be that. Let the world do what they're going to do. You be on your own schedule. So this month, spend at least 3 minutes in front of the mirror every morning and just build yourself up. Just talk to yourself. You can do exactly what we did in the meditation right before, like what Britt did. And just get in that mirror and talk to yourself. Just say, hey, I love you. We're going to kill it today. This is going to be awesome. I know, because we're in the day together. It's going to be incredible. And just remind yourself, every morning for the next month, just tell yourself that. And what you'll realize is that in the beginning, it's weird. It's weird. You're like, why am I talking to myself? Why the hell am I in front of the mirror? And you do it enough times and you think, wow, that really made such a big difference in my life. We've done this multiple times, and every single time it's huge. You just feel better. We don't take a pause and just honor ourselves. We're always just going and doing and trying to achieve and getting this and doing that. And it's exhausting. Sometimes you just got to pause and say, man, you're doing a good job. I'm proud of you. You're doing all right. You're doing fine. And keep up with that. That way it starts to be imprinted in your mind that those are the things that you want to be hearing. And don't just do it on the days that you're feeling excellent, especially do it on the days where you feel like crap, because those are going to be the days where it's going to be the hardest. And those are the most important ones, because you're still worthy. Even when you screw up, even when you do stupid things, you're learning.
When you cuss out Julio on customer service.
You're learning. This is all a learning experience. Britt's over here learning. We're all in this ocean together learning, right? We're just in different boats out here. So just remind yourself, you're good. Everything's good. Make sure you give yourself that love. Yes. those arms around you, that good love, it's so important.
I was like, ooh, I'm feeling good. I'm like, this feels good. I'm like soft. The shirt is cozy. Like,
Hey.
give yourself the love that you absolutely deserve. Stop looking for it outside of yourself. It will never fulfill you like your own self-love will. I mean, it's called self-love, not like other people's love. It's nice and it complements, but what really matters is that you are choosing to accept all of you. And that's when real self-love begins. It's accepting the parts of you when you're a bitch and when you're angry and when you fail and when you don't have the energy. Like, you have to accept every level and every stage of you and your growth. And that is when you can take the pressure off, recognizing that we weren't born perfect. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. And the more mistakes we make, the better, because the more wise we'll end up being. If you don't make mistakes and you stay inside your comfort zone, it's going to be really hard to expand and grow and to experience new things that you came here to do, to share, to offer your love and your wisdom. So,
yeah, all you end up doing is you allow yourself to repeat the process again. Next time you get to learn the same lessons, because you don't go to level 2 unless you pass level 1. And so if you're continuously pushing off the lessons that you need to learn, it won't work.
Level 1 is self-love, y'all. Don't forget. All right. So if you haven't had a chance to check out the yoga and meditation videos this month, highly recommend you dive into those. We shared how to use a lacrosse ball to roll out your glutes, which get super tight. And most women hold a lot of motion in our hips and our butts. So we are showing you how to release some of that stagnant, stuck energy. And then in the meditation, this one is perfect for perfectionists because we teach you the emptiness meditation. It helps you to release all the burdens that you create in your mind. It helps you to not feel like you have to accomplish everything. You can actually let it all go and still feel fulfilled and whole.
Oh my gosh. And the affirmation for this one.
Oh yeah. This month's affirmation, I want you guys to repeat out loud. Keep this on repeat every day. I am already worthy. I am already worthy. It's not an accomplishment or a number in the bank account or amount of friends or followers or likes or whatever external measurement you're allowing your worth to be ruled by. It is your choice. And so if you choose to repeat this affirmation, I am already worthy, it gives you permission to just enjoy the things that you're doing and the growth that you experience, but knowing that none of the things that you do actually represent your value, your worth. The fact that you're here alive and breathing is validation. Everything else on top of that is just for fun.
Oh my, we love y'all.
This has been so much fun with you guys today. Any thoughts, questions, aha moments that you guys want to share? Either open it up in the chat. You can unmute yourself if you're here watching us live. Let us know what questions come up for you when it comes to perfectionism and how it stops you from really getting on with your dreams and going after your goals. Any questions that come to mind for you guys, or any aha moments where you're like, oh my God, I just realized that 7th grade coach who told me about my tits, we can let her off the hook now. You know what I mean? Like, is there anything that came up for you that you guys feel called to share? And what are we teaching next month?
Resilience.
Ooh, resilience going down in April. This is perfect right after perfectionism, because we know that if we've been our own inner critic and beating ourselves up, we have to, we have to survive that experience, and resilience is what gets us through it. So we're going to teach you how to be able to move through any painful experiences that you have, whether you create them for yourself or that you've experienced them in the past, or the ones that are yet to come, because life is up and down.
We're really going to go through about what it takes to cross the finish line, instead of like always just kind of having hopes and dreams and they just kind of fizzle out because some ends up happening, the failures come up and you stop short. This is going to be, resilience is all about getting through it, like I said, all the pain moments, all the trauma things that come up, all the obstacles, all the
what did we plan this around my dad's death? Like, how did this happen?
It's the way it works. Elevated life's always that way.
Come on. I'll be sitting front row with you guys next month. No. Oh my gosh, you guys have been so amazing. If you don't have any thoughts, questions, or ideas, feel free to leave them in the Facebook group as they pop up for you this week, this month. Remember to commit to your 21-day mirror challenge by looking at yourself and saying, I am amazing, I am beautiful, I'm a total badass, and I am here to shine. If you need more support and one-on-one or two-on-one or whatever the numbers are, coaching from us, you can always reach out. We offer a special package just for our elevators if you want to do some coaching with us. So just know that's always an option if you'd like more accountability and support. It is so much fun seeing you guys share your wins, your ahas, your breakthroughs inside the Facebook group, and seeing your beautiful faces here in the live masterclass. For everyone watching the replay, if you have any questions, thoughts, or aha moments that come up, feel free to share them in the comment below or over in the Facebook group. We are here to cheer you on. We believe in you. We love you. And we are so grateful to experience this life together with you. Next class is 4/13. I don't know, second Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, I don't know.
If it's the second Tuesday of the month, then yes to 4/13. Oh man, my 17-year-old son and I are going to go through this. Oh my gosh. Yes, that is powerful. And I don't even know how you have a 17-year-old. You look so young. Oh my gosh. Would have never guessed. Amazing. 4/13 is Calliope's birthday and she will be 8. Oh my gosh. Wow. It's so crazy to watch these beautiful unicorns grow up and blossom into their little authentic selves because of people and mothers like you guys for taking care of yourself, showing up as your authentic self, loving yourself, healing your bullshit, and inhaling the good shit. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here on The Elevated Life. We absolutely love you. We appreciate you. And we will catch you guys inside the club and next month for the live masterclass on building resilience. Love you guys so much, and we'll catch you soon. Peace.